Greetings and welcome to the Sega Lounge. You are listening to me, Bo, from the Rings of Saturn blog and the Sonic Weekly podcast, and now it's time for the show.
Welcome to the Sega Lounge, where we celebrate our love for all things Sega, including the games, the music, and the community. I'm your host, KC. Join me as I talk to different guests and learn more about their projects and passion for Sega. Hello and welcome to the Sega Lounge. Yeah, this is episode 259. My name's KC. Very nice to see all of you, and this is our podcast that's all about Sega in all of its forms. And this week we have a very special episode because we have another interview. Yes, wow, we're doing nothing but roundtables and stuff this season, but it's time to get back to our roots and our interviews, our interview episodes. I'm very happy to talk to my guest this week, Bo Bayles. Hello, Bo. How are you?
Feed me up. Hey, I am happy to be talking about Sega with a new friend.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for taking the time to join me to talk about Sega. It's time for Sega, like you were saying before we started recording, right?
That's right. Work is done. Kids are in bed. It's time for Sega.
That's it. Well done. I like that. So, Bo, we usually start from the same point, like the very beginning for our guests. So I want to know a little bit more about you and how you got into not just Sega, but video games in general. How did that go?
Yeah. I'm going to start slightly after the beginning because I think it's a better opening salvo. But I won a contest on Sega.com. They had a trivia quiz for the release of Sonic Jam, and the questions were really bad. They were based on the sort of a mix of the Archie lore and the Kintober lore. And somehow I got all the questions right, which put me in the group of people who had dial-up internet in 1997 answering questions on Sega.com. And I won. I won Sonic Jam. I won a selection of, I think, 4 other Saturn games. The details on this were a little fuzzy to me. And what was great about this was, hey, I have Sonic Jam. I love Sonic. I love playing all these Sonic games, and now I've got them in this one package. But there's only one problem with this, is I don't own a Saturn. So I have now 5 Saturn games, but no Saturn to play. But the resolution of the story is I was friends with some people from the Sonic world who had started on the Sega.com message boards and then migrated to the Green Hill Zone website, run by my good friend Jared the Green Gibbon. And so Jared and I worked out a deal. I would trade him some subset of the Saturn games, so he would pick the ones I could get from Sega, and I would send him some of them, and he would send me his spare Saturn. He and his brothers both had one, and they traded one to me for these games. And so that got me not only, I was already started with Sonic and with Sega, but had I not won this contest, I would not have had a Saturn. And this really cemented it for me. This was, okay, now I am a Sega guy. I am, previously I'd had a Nintendo Entertainment System, which was very big in the US, much bigger than Master System. Like, I've never seen a Master System. And I could have gone either way. I could have become a Nintendo guy, or maybe I could have been a Sony guy. But no, I had this Saturn that I won in a contest, and I became a Sega guy. So that's my entry point to this became my favorite thing. And rewinding a little bit, the way I really got into Sega was the way a lot of people did, which was there was a cool kid in the kindergarten who liked the Sonic comics and the Saturday morning cartoon, the Deke one that was airing in the US at the time. And so I wanted to be his friend. So we started watching that and playing with the comic books and drawing the characters and stuff. And through that, I eventually got a Game Gear, and Sonic 2 was my first one, and had a couple of games, but it really took off like a rocket once I won the Sonic contest.
Okay, so you started with Sonic 2 on the Game Gear. That it was the
Yeah,
first
really a
game.
trial by fire. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. So you really are a Sonic fan. If you play that as your first game and kept on
Yeah, I don't
going,
know how
yeah.
many days it took me to get through the underground zone past the first boss. But I did it. I got all the emeralds at some point and
Excellent.
played all of it. I had the AC adapter, so I didn't go bankrupt on
On
batteries.
batteries, okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. So that was your first console, the Game Gear, your like first handheld.
Uh, my father bought our family a Nintendo Entertainment System, I think when I
Mhm.
was 4, and so we had that. Favorite games of mine were Super Mario Brothers 3 and Kirby's Adventure. And then the first one I bought for myself, which I think I cobbled together from like money for my birthday and like Christmas, and then asking my parents uh, to supplement, was the Game Gear, which I think had a pack in with Sonic 2.
Mhm. Awesome, awesome. Okay. You also mentioned the comics, right? So that was the comics and the cartoons. So that was big, obviously back in the day. So I'm from Portugal. I don't really
Yeah,
remember here the comics.
right.
I
Did you have access to the Fleetway ones at all?
So I realized, like maybe 10 years ago or something, that we did have translated like versions, like hard book covers of the
Yeah.
like compilations of Fleetway comics. But I don't remember them at all from back in the day. I realized from like looking online that that was a thing, but I don't remember them at all, like seeing them in stores or kiosks or anything, like newsstands, nothing. I do remember, and I bought one, I think, at the airport, of all places, an Archie comic, an edition of the original one, so not translated like in English. And
Yeah.
still have that issue somewhere. Was like one
Oh,
of
which one is
the
it?
Snuckles and against Enerjack and
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, like that arc there. But that was actually my first like experience with a Sonic comic, not the ones that were from Europe or I guess closer to us, like in the UK.
Did Portugal have the Deke shows?
Yeah. So the cartoons, we had them all. Yeah. So that we had, but the comics we didn't. At least didn't experience that, as I know many people did, mostly in the US with the Archie ones and the UK with the Fleetway ones. So I find
My
that
first
interesting.
Archie comic was issue 13, which is the Sonic and Knuckles adaptation.
Mm.
And boy, what a great cover! I traced over that and probably ruined the the comic itself, but I loved it. I still love it.
Okay, excellent. In you still have the memory of that in
I
in
still
your
have the
head,
issue.
right? You still okay?
I did sell most of my Archie collection in my teenage years when I sort of left video gaming, which we can get to. But
Okay.
I did hang on to a couple of special ones to me, including number 13, including number 25, the CD adaptation. And I think I kept most of the game adaptations. There's a Triple Trouble adaptation that I liked.
Okay. So you're mentioning at some point you dropped out of video games.
Yeah,
Was that out of like
well, it
necessity
was really
or
out of
yeah?
it was disappointment that there was no
Oh,
more Dreamcast. So I
okay.
was, all aboard the Saturn train in '97, eagerly awaiting the Katana or the Dural or whatever it is we're going to call
Mm-hmm.
it, and then bought my Dreamcast 99.99 and convinced my parents to let me leave school early and stand in line. And I was more excited for the Dreamcast launch than I've been excited about anything before or since. And then don't let my wife or children hear that, but something about being age 13 and you've been anticipating this for a year was really a magical combination. But then, so at the end of the Dreamcast lifetime, I thought, well, nobody's ever going to do better than this. Like, what's the point? So I kind of just stopped playing games and buying games, and I didn't get any of the follow up consoles for myself. I did eventually have access to a GameCube to play Sonic Heroes and Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. But I don't think I bought a game for myself from 2003 to 2019 when I finally bought Sonic Mania when the Plus edition came out. So
Okay.
I was out from the gaming
Hmm.
world for quite a while.
Yeah, that's true. Interesting. Yeah. So I've mentioned this several times on the show before, but I didn't get a Saturn back in the day,
Uh huh.
so I skipped that generation entirely, and then I came back with the Dreamcast. But I definitely feel like when the Dreamcast was done, something truly died in the gaming world for me,
Yeah,
right?
something broke for me
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. So like I got a PS2 at some point after
Hmm.
that, but it never was the same thing. I feel like gaming was not the same experience as it was uh, with the Dreamcast, for sure, for sure. And then
Yeah,
I
I didn't
also
want to be the
dropped off a little
refugee.
bit. Yeah, yeah. That's good. That's a good
I
analogy.
was invested in all these like playground debates, and then I didn't want to, come crawling back to one of the camps that I.
That's true. Oh, the console wars. Oh,
Yeah, I was a
yeah.
veteran of the console wars.
Mm. Okay. Excellent. So you already mentioned something. So full disclosure for people listening in, you actually sent me some topics that you suggested I talk to you about. You already mentioned the first one. So I think was that
Yes, yes, the
like
Sega.com
yeah.
contest. That's right.
Okay, but you mentioned being designated the official Sonic Jam Museum Curator.
Oh,
Was that
right.
like the
That's yeah.
title that
The
they
other
gave
part of
us?
that story, right? So the advertising for this was the person who knows the most Sonic trivia will become the curator of the Sonic Jam Museum, which is a place you
Okay.
can go and visit in Sonic World in
Yeah.
Sonic Jam. And at the end of the contest, they said something along the lines of the person who flexed the most Sonic knowledge is hereby designated the Sonic Jam Museum Curator, and it's my name and my hometown. And you can find this on the Wayback Machine. I can send
Okay.
you the link. It's a delight
Interesting.
to read. Um,
Okay.
I actually have interacted with one of the other contest winners who took a picture of the box that Sega sent with all the games in it,
Mm.
which I did not keep mine, but I wish I had.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So Sonic Jam was a big thing, right? Because of obviously because we didn't really get a proper mainline Sonic game, right?
Right. Yeah.
Unless you count 3D or 3D Blast, but that was
I don't, but yeah.
yeah. No one usually does. We were supposed to get Extreme, but that got canned.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very sad.
yeah. But Sonic Jam was a big thing. So yeah, okay, Mr. Curator, welcome to the show.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
As far as I know, they
yeah.
never stripped me of the title. So,
Excellent.
when I came back into the Sonic and Sega world, I'm resuming my duties.
You should use that like as a badge of honor. Yeah, I'm the Sonic Museum Curator. Yeah,
Official Sonic Jam Museum
official.
Curator. That's
Okay,
right.
nice, nice, nice. That makes it even better. Official, official. Okay, okay. And so you mentioned the Saturn as like the big thing for you, right? The big
Yeah.
box, the big machine that got you into properly into games and Sonic and stuff. What is it about the Saturn that's so special for you?
I I think a lot of this does come back to the group of people I was hanging out with online at the time. So I mentioned the Green Hill Zone website, still up today. You can go and visit it as it was when Jared last updated it. Um, but like that group of kids we were at the time, we grew up together. I was 11 when I started reading that message board, and when Jared started it, and we went from kids who didn't know anything to teens who didn't know anything to young adults who didn't know anything. And those people, I would give a kidney to if they needed them. um, and I never met one of them until a couple of years ago, and they just meant the world to me at the time. And I drifted away from the scene when I went off to university. But over the pandemic, we started hanging out again, and they are still great friends and still people I like interacting with. And I can't say enough good about them. And I think it is them who we had the shared interest in originally Sonic, but then Sega and the associated games around all of that stuff. And maybe if we had all been into Kirby, it could have been the Kirby fandom that tied us together, but it happened to be Sonic, and that's yeah, here it is. Those are responsible.
Yeah. It says contributors, Bo Bayles, probably God.
That's
So,
right. I think at
okay.
one point this said, "Bo is probably God, and I hate God."
Okay.
So,
Okay. Nice. The Green
but
Hill Zone.
well, and
Mhm.
to complete more of the picture of this Saturn trade I made. So Jared the Green Gibbon sent to me not only the Saturn, but also a hand typed list that he and his brothers compiled of here are the games you should buy for the Saturn to maximize your experience here. And that he had a ranking system of like, here's the ones you should get first, and here's the ones you should get next, and like buy this one yourself, and then wait for this one for a gift. And also included was this hand drawn art. He's a very talented artist, and I was just I love that letter so much. I don't have it now. I wish I still did, but I sort of learned to draw from that. Also, like he drew Sonic in a way that I could copy, and it really clicked for me. Like, oh, this is how you draw Sonic from that. And I still doodle Sonic 16 times a day in my adult life when I'm idle, and I still do it the way Jared did on that piece of paper. But yeah, so my Saturn Mount Rushmore, to use a U.S.
Mhm.
Metaphor, the top four for me would be Burning Rangers, Nights into Dreams, Sega Rally, Fighters Mega Mix. Like those were the core titles to me, and all of them are like all four of them are great, and I don't think there's like any console you could put up against that with their top four that would be like obviously better. Like probably my favorite console overall is Dreamcast, but like the those four top Saturn games to me
Mhm.
are super strong.
Okay. Okay. Let's go into that. Why Burning Rangers? Why is it so special to you? Because you call
What it
yourself Burning Rangers enthusiast, as when you
Yes,
filled
yes.
out your profile for our website for the segalounge.com, the title that you chose was Burning Rangers enthusiast. So
That's right.
really means a lot,
Yeah.
right?
Burning Rangers I love Burning Rangers. What I love about Burning Rangers is the attention to small details um, in a way that is way outsized for what it was. So the Saturn was dead. Everybody knew that there was going to be no more Saturn very soon. The entire development cycle for Burning Rangers. And even so, they put a lot of care into this game. They made the Saturn do graphical things that it really probably shouldn't be doing. They
Hmm.
made pictures and backstories and names and personalities for 108 characters that you can go and rescue. And they did full voice acting. They did, all sorts of stuff for a game that not a whole lot of people had a chance to buy. It was a very limited release, and they didn't expect a whole lot of people to buy because they were killing off the system in the West. But nonetheless, it's a brilliant and well polished game. Aside from the fact, from the very first thing you see is a typo on the English version. It says since a split second instead of a split second.
Nice. Yeah. In your if people go to your website, uh, you
Yes,
have a whole section dedicated to Burning Rangers, right? Uh, you explain why is it important, why it's important to you, why it needs rescuing, right? As you put it,
right.
and
Thematically appropriate. Yes.
of course, and also what you're doing to rescue Burning Rangers or to contribute to this cause, right? So, what drove you to like dive into this game and like dive into like the source code and everything? What happened that made you think, no, I don't just like to play Burning Rangers. I want to do more with this.
But I can. I think this was overdetermined, but a few of the factors were. So I mentioned the Green Hill Zone team got back together during the pandemic times, and in those discussions, I thought, hey, what if I could play Burning Rangers again? That was sure a good time in 1998. And I looked around, and there was Andreas's HD remaster of the game, and it looks great. It plays great, and I thought, what a great game, very overlooked. I wonder what is out there about Burning Rangers that I didn't know back when I was reading about it in 98, 99, the time when I was really playing it in earnest. And so I found like a bunch of stuff about the Japanese release and the Hidden Palace, the website that collects prototype versions of games. They published a prototype version with some really cool stuff in it that got cut from the final game, most notably like remnants of a two-player co-op mode. And so I started looking into like what was known about the development of Burning Rangers, and sort of seemed a little um, less studied than the other Sonic Team things. Like
Mm-hmm.
the amount of time and energy people have put into dissecting the Sonic games is like mind-boggling. Like going back to people who were kids learning how to program basically to like try to figure out the physics of Sonic. Like there's the Sonic
Mm-hmm.
Stuff research group back from the very late '90s, and the Secrets of Sonic team. Like I read those websites back in those days and loved every bit of it. And I thought, what if we could bring some of that energy to Burning Rangers?
Mm-hmm.
And um, the first thing I wondered was something that was amusing to me, which is you can rescue Yuji Naka and some of the other Sonic team members at Burning Rangers. And one thing about Burning Rangers is when you play the game, you get a randomly generated variant of the level each time you replay it. So you play it through the first time, it's always the same for everybody. But then you play it again, and my playthrough will be different from your playthrough. And theoretically, you could trade passwords with other people that are playing Burning Rangers, so they could replay the same one as you. So if you know like Blue Spheres on if you lock on Sonic 1 to Sonic and Knuckles, you get a code
Yeah.
for the randomly generated level you got. Burning Rangers is the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I wondered, okay, how many different passwords are there where I could rescue Yuji Naka? Just a silly question, but there has to be an answer, right?
Sure.
There's only so many passwords you can type in. Some
Mm-hmm.
number of them give you Yuji Naka. I wondered what that answer was. Um, so that was kind of my silly motivation. And my second motivation was a little less silly. Professionally, I wanted to learn how to use this reverse engineering tool called Ghidra, Ghidra. And that had come out a few years prior. And I thought, what better way to learn how to do this thing that I want to be able to use professionally by applying it to something very silly that I remember from my childhood. And so I booted it up. I learned how to import the game into it, and then I got absolutely nowhere with it. So tried and tried with all my might, could not locate a single bit of thing that I could do anything with. And so I looked around and I thought, who can help me with this? Who can bootstrap me into figuring this out? And I happened upon Andreas, and he and I got to talking, and we collaborated on. He had like extracted all the pictures of the survivors you can rescue in Burning Rangers. I mentioned there's 108 of them,
Mm-hmm.
and so we made this like nice mosaic image of all of them that I think he posted on social media, and people enjoyed. And so then I asked him like, "Hey, could you know this code a little bit? Can you give me any hints of where to start?" And he very kindly did and provided me like a very expensive professional service for free, and gave me some notes. And that was what I needed, is like just a place to start.
Okay.
And I learned how to use the tool, and then I cracked it. I know the entirety of the password system now. I can generate them all. There's uh, I have to double check. I think it's 16 million different ways you can rescue Yuji Naka in Burning Rangers.
Okay, that wasn't the answer that I was expecting. I don't know what answer I was expecting, to be honest, but 16 million wasn't the answer, I think. Yeah.
I I also made a mod just for my
Yeah,
own private enjoyment, where every survivor is Yuji Naka.
yeah. I was going to mention that. Yeah, the free Naka mod, right?
That's right. Well, yeah, and as people probably know, Yuji Naka had a little bit of trouble with the legal system, and you know,
Appropriate,
I feel
appropriate.
it's all a big misunderstanding, and uh, we got
Yeah,
to rescue Naka. That's
yeah,
right.
yeah. I think people can get behind this. Yeah, for sure. Okay. There we go. By the way, you mentioned Andreas. Big shout out to Andreas Scholl, previous guest of the Seg Lounge. He did that like Burning Rangers tribute, like an HD version of or tribute to the game in, I believe, Unity. I think.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
think
Yeah,
so. Right. Yeah. So,
excellent work. Yeah, people should play it.
but no free Naka mode. So I mean, yeah. Uh, for shame, Andreas. What were you doing? Uh, yeah. So yeah. So if people go to your website, by the way, and we'll obviously leave a link in the description. Everything, I assume, or mostly everything that you did regarding Burning Rangers is there for people to take a look at, right?
Yeah, that's
Right.
right. So, cracking the password system, that was one of my early successes. Another one was uh, sort of this thing I randomly happened into is I found a blog post from a French Sega fan who in 2005 posted a blog entry about visiting his friend, and they played a bunch of Saturn games, and they wrote down on the blog which ones they had. And one of the ones they put was Burning Rangers Beta. And I thought, well, that's very strange. There is no beta for Burning Rangers, or at least there wasn't in 2005.
Mhm.
And so I looked, what are the chances I can find the author of this blog post? And it was he goes by the name Igrekus, and I think he's still big in the French Sega scene. And he answered my question. He said, "Oh yeah, I still have the disc. Do you want it?" And I said, "Well, yeah, of course I would like it." And it turned out to be a very interesting artifact from the era, which is a prototype version of Burning Rangers that was sent out to magazines for review. And what's very interesting about it is that it has the missing two-player mode. So there's a magazine article that says, "Hey, in our version of this, we have a two-player mode that doesn't work very well. We hope it's better for the final."
Mhm.
And this is the one. It's got the two-player mode.
Okay.
So that was lost for many years, and then found because Igrekus had the foresight of putting it into his blog post.
Excellent. Excellent. Uh, and he just like randomly, do you want it? Yeah, sure. Why
Yes,
not? Don't mind if I do, right? Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
I don't think he knew. I'm probably the most excitable person about it in the world, but he certainly made my day.
okay. Excellent. Yeah. Yeah. But a lot of stuff that you uncovered, and just by like looking into things, right, and playing with the game in the source code, right?
Well, that's right. So I mentioned I was trying to learn how to use this reverse engineering tool, Gidra,
Mm-hmm.
and in order to do that, I was playing around with Burning Rangers because I had the labels that Andreas gave me,
Mm-hmm.
and just trying to figure out how do I do stuff, how do I change how high the jump is, how do I change which level loads, which character loads, and I just kept getting better and better at the tool, and eventually I thought, well, I wonder if I can do this for any other games, and so then I opened up Knights, and then I opened up Sonic Jam, and then I opened up Sonic 3D Blast, and then I opened up Clockwork Knight, and then it just spiraled from there.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Yeah. And so again, we'll leave the link to the website, and you have published a lot of stuff about many different games, including non-Sega games or games on non-Sega systems, right? So there's that as well, which maybe can lead.
Reluctantly.
Okay, yeah, you're like, okay, but maybe we can get into Rings of Saturn. So that's part of your website, and like most of this that we just talked about is published under this like blog, right, section of your
Yeah,
website.
that's right. So, um, I thought I was just going to write 6 or 7 posts about Burning Rangers, and then I got into hacking on Knights, and I found some cool stuff in Knights, and then I was hacking on Sonic Jam, and I found some cool stuff on Sonic Jam, and I was sort of doing this for my own private amusement, like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if I could play as Tails in Sonic Jam? And then I thought, well, no, people might want to see this or might want to play with this, and so I posted it on social media, and people enjoyed that. And I thought, okay, I've got like all these notes that I've put in the course of learning how to use this reverse engineering tool. I'm just going to write up all the funny stuff I did in the Sonic Team games, and I'll put that on Substack, and then people can read it, and if they like it, they can try to do it themselves.
Mhm.
And I don't know, people just kept suggesting to me like, "Oh, have you looked at this game? And have you looked at Panzer Dragoon? And have you looked at Saturn Bomberman?" And there's cool stuff in lots of these games, and I'm several hundred in now. Um, I see my beat on Rings of Saturn, which is usually I'll post something about a cheat code that I found that nobody wrote about back in the day, or sometimes a demo disc will have like an earlier version of a game that has things in it that didn't make it into the final, or sometimes I'll make a hack or a mod and post them on there. So like those 3 things: cheat codes, um, prototype stuff, and mods. Like see those as my beat. My favorite
Mhm.
things are Sega ones, Saturn and Dreamcast. But on occasion, somebody suggests like a weird PlayStation game for me, and I get interested in that.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just scrolling down the list in the code section, and I'm still going.
Yes.
I've been doing this for quite a while you were talking, and I'm still going. And okay, there we go. Got to the end
Yeah,
finally.
you
So
hit the
there's
end.
a lot of
So
stuff to uncover here.
I had a very early success in finding a fairly significant cheat code that had gone unnoticed and unpublished for a while, which was Sega put out Clockwork Knight 2 in
Hmm.
North America as a version of the Japanese game, which is called Clockwork Knight: The Lucky Bag, which is a metaphor that makes more sense in Japanese than it makes in English. And this is a combination of the first Clockwork Knight game, the second Clockwork Knight game, and some mini games. And the US release of this has the second Clockwork Knight game. It has the mini games, but it doesn't have the first Clockwork Knight game in it. And I found that there is a cheat code you can put in at the title screen that will unlock the whole first game, and you can play both of them as though it were the Japanese release. And actually, Sega had teased this in advertisements for what was called Clockwork Knight 2 in the US, but then never actually put out the code. And it's unclear to me whether they thought people might still buy the first Clockwork Knight game
Hmm.
because it wasn't a whole lot of distance between its release and the
Yeah.
second one, or if they just forgot, or it didn't sell the way they thought it would, and they didn't want anybody to know. Anyway, for whatever reason, there's a whole second game inside of the that one, and it was pretty cool to find. And this answered a question that Tongara, who's the proprietor of the most prominent Clockwork Knight fan site, he knew that this code existed, but never knew what it was. And he and I got together and figured it out on his Discord, and we're very happy to finally solve the mystery.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And you also look into demos and what secrets lie within demo discs sometimes, or just demos that are people just usually say, okay, this is just a level or stuff, but you don't want to limit yourself to that. You want to find out more.
Yeah,
Again.
my favorite thing is like when there's a demo disc that's just an auto demo where it's just playing like the attract mode where
Hmm.
you can't control it, but you can just see stuff happening in the game. And I like those because in order to do the attract mode, you have to have the entire game engine in there, and you have to have the files for whatever level you're doing. And
Hmm.
usually it's like just a small little bit of code to disable the computer controlling the character and swap in the controller controlling the character. And those are really interesting to me because they're often like earlier builds. And so there's like a nice build of Burning Rangers where it was on a European Flash Sega Saturn disc where you just see snapshots of a couple levels. But it's a full build of the game. It's got some weird stuff in it, and I patched it so you can play the whole thing. There's a couple unreleased games that they had these demos, and this is the only evidence of them that we have. And so, like, there's a game called Fighting Force on the Saturn that was canceled, but there was an auto demo of it, so I patched that auto demo, and you can play it on Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love it when that happens. There's a wonderful game on Dreamcast called Surf Rocket Racers, I think in the West, and I think it was called Power Jet Racing in Japan, or maybe vice versa.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's another one of these auto demos on. I think it's one of the Arrow Wings games, and it's a really early version, and it's got a different title. It's got a different title screen. It's got different names for the characters. I thought it was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. This is great because it's also part of game preservation.
Yeah, for sure. Yes.
Which has been in people's minds these days with the advent of like digital only games and the fact that games can get pulled out of like digital stores and we lose access to them. There's also I actually talked about this on one of our previous episodes. We do our monthly episodes covering the news. There was a news post about Sega and other Japanese companies doing a presentation where they like said they were committed to preserving things like this, like not just the games and the source codes and stuff, but material related to the games and stuff. And then someone said that that's probably not what that was. They did that presentation, but probably it's not. It's just more of a thing that's for show and not really something that they're really committed to. And so the fact that people like you are doing this and are, I know it's just for fun probably, and you're first and foremost you want to have fun and you do it for yourself. But it's nice that there are also people like you that are curious enough to document this stuff, put it out online, and for people to find out and play with as well. So yeah.
Yeah, and I hope the creators of these games realize like how important they were to weird kids in the Midwest of the United States who had moved to a small town and didn't have a whole lot of people to talk to, but had friends on the internet who liked all this stuff. Like, the people who worked on Burning Rangers, they probably didn't know they were having that impact on me, but they were. And yeah, I want to write that down so other people can know about it. And I hope they know how cool all of that stuff was.
Yeah. Excellent. Nice, Bo. If you've listened to previous episodes of this, you know that there's a point when we have a guest on that we have to do something. We have to take a break from the nice and cozy conversation and do another thing, right? We call it the Sega Lounge Challenge.
Now that you know our guests, it's time to put them to the test. It's the moment we've waited for and the moment they dread.
Welcome to your doom.
I mean, welcome to the Sega Lounge Challenge.
Yeah, I hear everybody else on here. They're squirming. They're talking themselves down like, oh boy, go on easy on me. I'm going to do terrible with this. No, I'm going to very confidently give wrong answers.
No, I mean, I don't know. I think I should have made this harder, to be honest. After talking to you, I don't know. You're the official Sonic Jam Museum Curator, so I mean,
yeah, I do have like a pretty big gap in my knowledge, which was I dropped off after Sonic Heroes and didn't come back until Mania. But I have now played all of the mainline games at least, so I fought my way through
I feel
Unleashed
like
on the Wii.
I feel like I didn't really go outside of your comfort zone with this. Okay, that's what
All
I'm
right.
going to say here. But I don't know. There are some hard questions here, maybe a couple, but not that hard. I feel. So what are we going to do? So we're not going to focus on the Saturn only. We're going to do our ultimate Sega fan challenge. So it's 10 rounds, some questions, some songs, and a couple of different things that I'll explain as we get to them. The goal here, so each round is worth 2 points. So it's 10 times 2, 20 in total. Can we get 10 at least? I think so. I
hope
think
so,
fairly
yes.
easy for you, but we'll see. So, ready, Bo, for
Yes, let's go.
the first round, the Ultimate Sega Fan Challenge? Okay. So, first round is a question. It's a very specific and topical question. Okay. Ready? What anniversary is Sega celebrating the week we're recording this episode? More specifically on June 3rd. So, for you, it's tomorrow. For me, it's today.
Also, the anniversary of the release of Burning Rangers in the U.S. Let's see. So was Sega? It was 60 years in 2020. So is it 65?
I don't know. Are you
Final answer?
asking or tell?
65. Final answer.
Final answer. Oh my God. On the phone a friend? Oh, okay. 65. I like your reasoning. Yeah, that was very quick and yeah. Yeah. Good job. 65. 2 points. Well done. See?
I saw those trading cards, the 60th anniversary ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
that's
there's a show from Burning Rangers one.
Go Sega was the campaign. Go as in like
Yeah.
6-0. Yeah. So you're right. 65. 65. Okay. Round two. Round two is a song. And what we do here is I play a 10-second long clip of a specific song from a specific game on a Sega system. And you have to tell me the name of the game. Simple, right?
Ready.
Yeah, you look confident. So let's take a listen to the first one.
This is a Sonic one, but where is it from? It's post Dreamcast era, I think. Certainly not Heroes. Certainly not 06. Ugh. I'm not confident, but I'm going to say Sonic Unleashed. Final answer.
Should I play it again or is it okay?
You can play it again. It's a very good clip. I don't know if it's going to spark anything more for me.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Play it again. Yeah.
Yeah,
I enjoy
okay.
it. I don't know. I listen to like a giant playlist that my friend Grant makes of Sega music on shuffle, and so it's just all a big mix to me. But yeah, Sonic Unleashed. Final answer. I don't think it's right.
Okay. I like that. Final answer, I don't think it's right. Okay. So let's start with the series. Is it a Sonic game? Yes, it is. It's a Sonic game. Is it post Dreamcast? Yes, it is. Yes, of course it is. This was
a vague era for me.
Yeah, it was really. I don't think this was the easiest one of the bunch. But it's not Sonic Unleashed. No.
Okay.
No. This is Sonic Frontiers.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Right.
I can hear
sort
it
of
now.
the
Yeah.
island themes, but the remix version for the DLC they released
Oh.
after. It's
Boy, those
Rando's
those
Island.
levels are crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So Sonic Frontiers, probably the future of 3D Sonic. Like
I'm happy. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. Okay, so no points here. So still 2 points. Let's see if we can get 4 with our next question. Round 3 is a question. You're a big Dreamcast fan. You also uncovered a few codes for this game. So question number 3 is, in the Mega Drive / Genesis Echo the Dolphin games, The alien race who serve as the main antagonists are called the Vortex. However, in the Dreamcast game Defender of the Future, what is the name of the new threat that emerges?
Oh boy. I had this game on Dreamcast. I don't know if I ever finished it. I don't know if I ever legitimately finished an Echo the Dolphin game. They're very difficult.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the Narwhals. Final answer.
Okay. Okay. So the first ones were the Vortex, the Ad Annunziata ones had the
Yeah, yeah.
Vortex. They're returning soon. He's remaking them or remastering them, I guess.
Both, right? Something new and something old.
Both, and
Yeah.
and maybe in making a new one. He says, I don't know. He doesn't consider this one as canon, right? Because he
Yeah, it
didn't
looks
work
great,
on
but
this.
it's not the same. Yeah.
I really love this game. Actually, I love all of them, but this one I love as well. It had its similarities. It was like an alien race as well. You fought the queen at the end, just like in the 16-bit ones. The narwhals. Did you fight the narwhal queen?
I didn't, but
You did, yeah. Neither did I. So you fought the foe. The foe.
foe. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the foe.
That's appropriate.
Yeah.
Did you know the team that made this game also made a PlayStation 2 game based on Jaws in the same engine? It looks almost identical. It's
Oh,
very
really?
strange.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they ported it to the PS2. Although I think
Yeah, that's right.
the Dreamcast one, as with most Dreamcast games ported to the PS2, the Dreamcast games were the superior versions. Yeah. But cool fact. Maybe I'll add that to the list of questions for whenever
Yeah,
someone else comes on the show. Okay, so no points here.
That one doesn't have any cheat codes.
Ah, okay.
I looked.
Okay, of course you did. So round 4, Bo, is another song. Okay, before we get into one of our special games in round 5, let's take a listen to this song. Can you tell me where it's from?
This is Fighter's Megamix. Or is it Fighting Vipers? Oh, boy. My first instinct was Fighter's Megamix. I'm going to say Fighter's Megamix, but if you told me it was Vipers, that would be... No, I'm going to say Fighting Vipers. Final answer.
I don't even need to be here.
Lock it
you
in.
do it.
Lock
You
it
do it all yourself. Oh God, you talk to yourself like you discuss it. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna lock in Fighting Vipers
Fighting
or
Vipers,
Fighters
yes,
Mega
yeah.
Mix. Fighting Vipers. Vipers. Your answer is correct. Yes.
Yes, okay, good.
Yes, Fighting Vipers.
I almost went astray there.
Okay, but I get it. Yeah. But originally from Fighting Vipers, Bayside Blues.
Oh,
was
did they
the
play it in
track.
Megamix? They might.
Maybe that's why I said originally. So yeah, probably.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not sure. Not big into these games, to be honest. Okay, so 2 points. That means 4 points in total. We're getting there. So round number 5 is a special round that I like to call Back of the Box. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to the back of the boxes of games, and I read you the description. This is just one game. This is the US version of this game. And the description is very simple. It reads, redacted overload. Buckle up for a jam-packed redacted spectacular. And if that's not enough to satisfy your need for fun, explore the completely new, fully interactive Redacted. And that's it.
Buckle Up sounds like a driving game. explore the fully new, so that implies that there's some context that people might have. So is it a sequel? Um, You didn't say the era. So this could be anything. So read the first part again. So it was
Okay,
buckle
so redacted overload. Buckle up
overload.
for a
Okay.
jam-packed redacted spectacular. And if that's not enough to satisfy your need for fun, explore the completely new, fully interactive redacted.
Ooh, okay. I think I was on the wrong track. I think this is Sonic Jam. Final answer.
Why?
Jam packed. Explore the fully interactive redacted. The redacted is the museum.
So you think they would put jam-packed as a pun for Sonic Jam on the back of Sonic Jam?
I do not think it's above them, or beneath them rather. No, have you seen the U.S. advertisement for Sonic Jam? It's a guy and he has rings like Sonic rings in his nose, and it's quite the image.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll have to take a look at that. So your answer is Sonic Jam then.
It fits. Yes,
It fits.
it's
It
consistent.
Fits. Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. 2 points. Sonic Overload. Buckle up for
Sonic
a
Overload.
jam-packed
Yeah.
supersonic spectacular. And if that's not enough to satisfy your need for fun, explore the completely new, fully interactive 3D Sonic Museum, of which you are the official curator, of course. 2 points. Well done. So 6. We're almost there. Almost there. Ready for round 6, Bo?
Ready?
Halfway there. Ready? Okay, so let's take a listen to another clip from a song. This might be challenging. Let's take a listen. I don't know.
My very first thought was a shoot 'em up, and or maybe a beat 'em up. I'm not confident. Let me say Thunder Force 5. Final
Okay.
answer.
I can see that. I can see the reasoning. Yeah. Yeah. Thunder Force 5, final answer, you say.
Yeah. Not confident. Probably wrong, but
It's
a good soundtrack.
I wasn't familiar with this soundtrack, to be honest. And I found it interesting. I can see why you said this was a beat 'em up, or more like a shoot 'em up, a shmup, probably.
yeah.
This sounds a little bit like a shmup. Could this also sound like a racing game, though?
I don't know. Like my Sega racing games that are my favorite are, Daytona, Mitsuyoshi, Rolling Start.
Even if it's maybe not a Sega game per se, but on a Sega system, maybe.
I believe you. You're leading me somewhere, but I.
Okay. So no, it's not. It's not
Nobody ever
Thunder
takes your
Force 5.
hints. Yeah.
No. It's not really a hint. I'm just asking a question. This gave me some like initial D vibes in a way, like some Eurobeat-ish song, but not really. This was Tokyo Highway Challenge, as it's known in Europe. So
Oh.
Tokyo Extreme Racer in the US.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool game. I did find a cheat code for this,
Okay.
but
I know.
usually I do my reverse engineering on mute, so
Okay.
I missed the soundtrack.
Yeah, this track was called High Gear. Yeah.
Yeah. No, those
Yeah.
games are really cool.
So there's a pattern here, right? So I'm not really straying too far from what you have worked on.
Yeah,
or
I haven't
something,
released my
right?
Thunder Force 5 article yet, so you had no reason to know.
There we go. So no points in this round, but still 6. So let's take a look at question 7. Question 7 is a question. Okay. Going back to the Dreamcast days. Back in the SegaNet days of the Dreamcast in the US, Sega got which popular band to endorse the service by sponsoring their tour?
Oh, I want to say Limp Bizkit. Isn't Fred Durst in a Sega commercial from the era? Um, yeah, who else would they have been sponsoring? I learned of Real Big Fish from Sama de Amigo, and it changed my life. I went to every possible Real Big Fish show after that, but they're not the answer. I'm going to reluctantly say Limp Bizkit because of the Fred Durst appearance in the commercial. But yeah, not confident of this at all.
Yeah. Okay. Could be, right? So this, for people not familiar with the commercial, this is it, right?
Yeah, there
This
it is.
If you get your ass kicked, it's probably me on the other end of the line. Fred Durst, SegaNet member.
Yeah, there's their red hat.
Yeah, yeah. So you said Limp Bizkit. I get it. It makes sense. But is it the right answer? Yes, it is.
Hey.
It is. Yes, it's Limp Bizkit. 2 points. Well done. You know your stuff. So that's 8 points in total so far. You only need 2 more.
Have the revisionists gone back and say, "Hey, actually, Limp Bizkit wasn't that bad yet"? Has that happened?
I don't know. I don't know. What's everyone's take? What's the internet's take on Limp Bizkit these days?
Someone tell me. I don't know.
Yeah, tell us. Let us know in the comments. Yeah.
Yeah, what's the
What-
modern
what's-
thinking on?
Exactly. Yeah.
On Limp
What's the
Bizkit.
accepted way of thinking about Limp Bizkit? Yay or nay? Let us know. Yeah. Okay. Round number 8. Ready, Bo?
Ready?
It's our last song. Okay. Take a listen.
Sound effect there is very helpful.
There's some action going on.
Yeah, what is that? That sounds like a beat 'em up or a fighting game. Let's see. Is it one of the Fighters Megamix songs? That's my first instinct. I don't know if that is that.
Surely
So,
it
the
isn't
sound effects
fighting Vipers again, right?
No, I don't think it's Fighters Fighting Vipers again. Those sound effects didn't quite sound Megamixy to me though. I don't, and it's the wrong vibe for Virtua Fighter. I'll say Fighters Megamix. I'll try that. My instinct gave me a few. I got Fred Durst there, so yeah, Fighters
Good
Megamix.
point. Good point. So for glory, Bo, Fighters Megamix,
Megamix.
Megamix. Your answer is correct. Yes.
Hey,
Yes, it's like the attract mode for Fighters Megamix. Good job.
Yes.
Good job. Yes. Well done. Okay. Good job. So, for fun, our final 2 rounds. Okay. 1 question and 1 special thing. So, the last question, round number 9, is according to the game's manual, which Sega character says, and I quote, "Welcome to my estate. I trust you'll find your stay here a pleasant one. I'm afraid I won't be able to come greet you personally, but I've sent some of my creations to make you feel right at home."
this must be House of the Dead, Curian Mansion.
So, which
That's my guess.
character then?
Oh, Dr. Curian, perhaps. That's my answer.
I like how Dr. Curran, perhaps. That's not an answer. That's a question.
Dr. Curian, I presume.
I presume exactly that. Yeah, exactly. So, do you presume right when you say Dr. Curian from the House of the Dead? Welcome to my estate. I trust you'll find your stay here a pleasant one. Yes, Dr. Curian. Well done. Well done. 2 points.
Is that even right though? Like, are people there at the invitation? I thought they got like a distress signal. But
It's in the manual, so
okay.
probably not, right? It's usually manuals are not like lore accurate.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah, yeah.
Princess Sally, Sonic CD wasn't to be.
Okay, last one. Number 10, round number 10. Round number 10 is the thing that I like to call mixed bag. So I go to Metacritic, choose a random Sega or Sega related game, and I pick one of like the blurbs from a review of that game. So I'll give you three clues. I'll give you the platform, the publication that reviewed the game, and the score. And then I'll read that little blurb. You have to give me the game, okay? So your
Okay.
clues are it's a Dreamcast game reviewed by a publication called Antagonist. Not really familiar with it, but
No, me either.
yes. Okay. And they gave it a 91 score of 91. Pretty good. Then.
91 out of 400.
Hopefully 100. And they say, heck, one of the coolest games ever. A combination of punk sensibility, fantastic music, great gameplay, and just plain awesomeness.
I think I know from this.
Hmm.
Got to be Jet Set Radio.
Why?
Just
Why
what game
not?
has better music
Mhm.
and punk sensibility?
And just plain awesomeness, as they say.
I, I, this is kind of a hot take. Like, besides the first level, Jet Set Radio was a little overrated. Like, wonderful game, I love it. You know, tattoo it on my body. But man, the first level does outshine the rest.
That hurt. That hurt. No, but I do see where you were coming from. Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit rough around the edges in parts, right? But
Yeah, I love
I
it.
do love it.
Also introduced me to Jurassic 5. The US release
Okay.
had those extra tracks. Fantastic band.
Yeah.
All of my musical taste came from Dreamcast games. Really
Mm,
Fish from San Mateo Amigo, Jurassic 5 from Jet Set Radio. I could go on.
yeah. It's like this when the Lord said, "Let it be light." He also introduced poetical.
Designated for,
Designated
yeah,
poetical.
for
Okay.
poetical mics, yeah.
Okay.
For whoever had the skills to possess the gift. Yeah.
There you go. There you
Combinated
go.
with
You
the flavor
remember
and it goes like this. Yeah.
tuna fish. Okay. Yes, it's Jet Set Radio.
Yeah.
Good job. 2 points. So that means you get a fantastic score of 14. That's amazing. That's amazing. Wow. And that also means you get our official Sega Lounge seal of approval. Well done. Very good.
I'm very
good.
proud. Yes.
Yeah, you should be. You should be. Thanks, Bo, and well done. Well done. Good job.
Punk Sensibility could have also been Crazy Taxi, also very
could be.
influential on my musical taste.
Fantastic music, great gameplay, awesomeness. Could be as well. Could be. But you were on the right track there. Yeah. Jet Set Radio, which is celebrating its 25th anniversary, as many Dreamcast games
Yeah.
this year. And we're going to do a special on that as well. So even though I said I agree that it's probably a little bit rough around the edges at times, it's one of my favorite games of all time, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I gave a Saturn Mount Rushmore. I think it would have to be on my Dreamcast Mount Rushmore. Although that's a tough console to pick. Only 4 for.
What would be the top one for you on the Dreamcast? Even harder.
I think it's got to be Sonic Adventure. I think it's got to be Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio. And what's the fourth slot? Like, to me, Choo Choo Rocket and Phantasy Star Online very influential because of the early online component. But yeah, you could go Power Stone. You could go Power Stone 2. I probably would not go Sonic Adventure 2. Like, I love the game. I tattoo it on my body. But it's not the the crazy scope of the first game
Mhm.
in a
Yeah.
way that
Yeah, for sure. Sonic Adventure for
puts on
me
the mountain.
is
Yeah.
like the Sonic Adventure. Yeah,
Yeah.
for me as well. Yeah.
I bought it on 99.99 and I got one of the defective discs, so I got it home and it didn't work. It was devastating.
I also got a defective disc. Yes.
Oh no,
On mine.
terrible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Terrible,
yeah.
terrible.
I got it a little bit later, so that this is like an overtold story at this point. But I had to wait a little bit because I was saving. This was the first console that I actually bought with my own money, and I actually got the game before the console. It was like
Oh really? Yeah.
on my desk for a few months, just teasing me, taunting me for a few months. Yeah, really hard. And then it was like a lottery. It either worked or not. It either ran like at the beginning,
Oh.
like oh no, I had like remove the disc, clean it a bit. Maybe it would work. And then I ended up buying a second copy later, but still love Sonic Adventure. Yeah, to this day. Yeah. You mentioned, by the way, Sonic Adventure. You mentioned Sonic Mania as the place or the point in time when you returned to gaming and to Sonic and Sega, right?
Yeah.
Was it
It was
like
really a one-off. It
someone
was it was
told you?
just
Yeah.
yeah, it was just that game. I didn't really get back into gaming or Sonic then, but
Hmm.
so I mentioned the Green Hill Zone previously, and
Mm-hmm.
I actually wound up working with a guy who lurked on the forums. And like it was a couple of months into us working together, and he made some sort of reference to Sonic, and I was like, "Oh, you seem to know a lot about Sonic." And he's like, "Yeah, actually, I know who you are. You were posting on these forums back in the day." It's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Ah, who were you?" And he's like, "No, don't worry, I was a lurker. You wouldn't know." And he was right. He only posted once. But anyway, he told me, "Hey, did you know they're doing Sonic again in the classic style?" And I said, "No, I didn't know. Should I play it?" He said, "You should absolutely play it." And so I played it, and I loved it. What a great game,
Definitely.
Sonic Mania.
Definitely. Yeah. Did it reignite your passion for Sonic? Just
It
playing that? Or?
reignited my passion for old Sonic. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't playing really any games in the period while I was like out of this, like disappointed by Dreamcast and heartbroken by the lack of Sega in my life. Um, but I would occasionally, like once a year, pull up an emulator and like play through Sonic 3 and Knuckles or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so playing Sonic Mania was like just it fit like a glove, right? It's I didn't forget how to play these games. These games are great. And what this has got Ray the Flying Squirrel in it. I got the Plus edition to start with, and who would have guessed?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And yeah, and so I played it and I enjoyed it, and then I put it away and didn't reconnect until I guess 2021 is when the Green Hill Zone got picked together, and then I jumped back in.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so maybe that will lead us to nicely to the podcast that you are a part of as well, right? Sonic
Yeah,
Weekly,
that's right. Sonic
right?
Weekly. So it is about Sonic. It comes out every
No,
7 days or so,
no.
and that's the name, Sonic Weekly.
Okay. What's the story behind this? How did it happen?
So let's see. So the Green Hill Zone, my good friends do a podcast that is not always about Sonic and not always weekly. And some of us involved with that wanted to do something about Sonic and something weekly. And that's the thing. So my very good friends, Josh and Lee and Nathan, they still do the Green Hill Zone podcast irregularly. And they talk
Mhm.
about animation and the games they're playing. And they've had me on to talk about Burning Rangers. And then over on Sonic Weekly, we talk about Sonic with all sorts of people. I think like people would say like our greatest hits are we had on Tyson, the producer of one of the Sonic or a couple of the Sonic movies now,
Mhm.
and to me the savior of the franchise,
Yeah.
along with the two co-writers, the lead writers for the all three movies. Um, Pat Casey is a friend of our host, Grant, and a great guest. We had him on talking about the Sonic movies and also about the Mortal Kombat movie when before he could talk about the Sonic movie. So we had him on to talk about things that weren't confidential.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talk every week. I'm the most flaky of the co-hosts because I have like family and work obligations that sometimes interfere with the recording. But my friends Grant and David from Sonic Retro are stalwarts, and they are there every week.
Mm. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. So again, links in the description for people who want to check it out. So how did you guys decided to, or how do you decided to join this? What happened? Why the need to talk Sonic weekly or weekly-ish?
Well, so like a lot of people during the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
there was like this explosion of like people connecting over voice chat. So there's like uh, the Discord voice chat that people would get on. There were these
Mm-hmm.
apps that people were using, and so a bunch of us from the old forum days were talking every chance we got on Discord voice chat, and we thought, well, what if we hit record on some of this so that the people who aren't here can catch up with it? And so we started just making shows for our friends and passing them around to others, and eventually decided, well, just maybe anybody can listen to this.
Okay. Yeah.
But we like talking about Sonic, and we like meeting together regularly. And honestly, we would be meeting together regularly and mostly talking about Sonic anyway. So we might as well hit record.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the best kind of podcast, right? The podcast that is just like friends talking.
I don't know if it's the best, but it's
I
it's
mean,
the one we're making.
yeah, but it's fun, right? You have a bunch of friends talking to each other about things they like and they're passionate about. So yeah, I think usually that shows that the audience gets that gets the passion, and that's also something amusing for people to listen to. Probably some inside jokes and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, no, and I've been surprised. Like we have people from all over who listen to it. We've had lots of people write in with cool questions and suggestions, and it's amazing to me that there's enough people out in the world to support like an ecosystem of we're not the only Sonic podcast. There's other
Mhm.
Sonic podcasts. There's a lot of people who like this stuff and want to hear about it. I'm very pleased.
Excellent. Yeah.
If I weren't recording it, I would be listening to it, and I very often am.
There you go. There you go. I think that's the best kind of like endorsement that you can give. If I weren't recording this podcast, I would be listening to it. Yeah. Totally. No, yeah. Okay. So, Bo, we're wrapping up. I want to let you go and go to bed. Me too, as well. A little bit more. We're recording this very late for me and you as well. But before that, I wanted to give you the chance to tell people, first of all, how they can find you. Obviously, your blog, your Substack is open for people to take a look and stuff. How can they support your work, by the way? Is that something that's possible?
You can support Sonic Weekly. I think we have
Okay.
a co-fi. There's probably a better way to pronounce that.
Coffee?
But that goes, yeah, coffee. Let's call it coffee. But yeah, my good friend Grant, he is paying for the recording and the hosting and all of
Mhm.
the stuff, and that will go to the support of the Sonic Weekly podcast.
There you
And
go. Yep.
you get first priority if you want to ask a question. You can do that, and we will answer your question if you are so generous as to tip us to defray those costs. So yeah, Sonic Weekly podcast, and then on Rings of Saturn blog, that's on Substack, 32bits.substack.com. That is all free. When I am my own boss doing engineering, it's free, and if I'm working for somebody else, then I'm going to charge a lot of money. And here I am my own boss, so you get the benefits of that.
Okay. Yeah. And I definitely encourage people to take a look at Rings of Saturn. I've been enjoying for several. I found out about you. I can't remember how, but it was something related to probably like that 2-player mode of Burning Rangers.
Yeah,
I
Burning
think so
Rangers. I
because
did.
that blew up,
Yeah,
right?
right. Yeah, I don't think we mentioned it explicitly. I did make a mod for Burning Rangers to restore the two-player co-op mode, and it
Hmm.
you know it works. Like the mod works as well as it can work, but like the mode is somewhere in between Tails and Sonic 2 and Tails and Sonic Adventure in terms of functionality. Like, yeah, you can control them. I don't know if you're really doing much, but I enjoyed making it, and I enjoy seeing multiple Rangers running around
Hmm.
on the screen. And this Rings of Saturn reverse engineering project, I have enjoyed diving into these Sega games that I've always known and loved, and I've also learned or enjoyed learning about like all the weird sorts of games that came out in the time I wasn't paying attention to games. Like there's games about M&Ms, and there's games about Skittles, and there's games about movies. There's just a lot of games out there, and not all of them have been studied to a large degree, and
Hmm.
I'm slowly correcting that.
Yeah. That's what I think is fun as well. Apart from the preserving aspect that we already mentioned, like the fun facts that you get about these games, and like the fact that you're just mentioning to us sometimes games that I also wasn't aware of. That's something fun as well. So there's usually something for everyone. If you're into some sort of like if some genre of game, you will probably find like a nice cheat code to improve or just change the gameplay. If you're into like obscure stuff, you'll find something that you weren't familiar with. So that's fun as well.
I'm sort of drawn to the things that nobody really liked at the time. Like I've never seen a 3DO, but I kind of enjoy like diving into the 3DO games.
Yeah. Never played a or seen a 3DO either. Yeah, but I there's like a cult following of that system as well, I believe.
Yeah, there's certainly a preservation community and people who do a lot of work to make sure that people can still experience the game. So
Hmm.
great for those people. And then a lot of 3DO games got ported to Saturn and PlayStation, and
Yeah.
people can experience them there.
Yeah. So Rings of Saturn, everyone, get behind this and take a look at all this amazing information. I was looking at like the dates for your posts. It's like twice a week almost, like
Twice a week.
very
I've got
regularly.
so much stuff that I want to post about. I am I am translating my hacking notes into blog posts as quickly as I can, and I'm most excited about like whatever one I've done most recently, but I'm really excited to share some of the Dreamcast stuff
Mhm.
very soon.
Okay. Okay. How do you decide like the order in which you post them? Is it like what do you do? Whatever is ready goes next, or
It's mostly like I have a queue of things that are ready. Like to me, like there's I did analysis for like dozens and dozens of games when I had a newborn son, and like I could like perch him on my arm and he would sleep on my shoulder, and I could use my other hand to like read through the code for a game, and so I would take notes on that. Uh, and like, okay, this looks like it will probably be interesting, and this other thing looks like it will probably be interesting, and then eventually I can turn those into articles, but that takes a little bit more focus and labor and taking screenshots and stuff. Um, but yeah, I've got a backlog of stuff I need to turn into things that people who are not me who can read assembly code.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, definitely recommended Rings of Saturn. So people, you can find the link in the description in the show notes as well. Bo, anything you'd like to say to people listening in who are just finding out about Rings of Saturn or who are longtime readers?
If you are like a special expert or a special enthusiast about a particular game, tell me about it because like a very large number of times, I will find something that I don't know if it's interesting or not.
Hmm.
So, do people know about this character that you can unlock in this game? Do people know about this level that's in here? So, I often try to go find like are there super magnetic Neo fans online? Are there people who have tournaments for surf rocket racers or whatever when they meet up. I try to find the experts to talk to them about this stuff before I publish something. So if you have special knowledge of Marvel vs. Capcom 2, get in touch. If you love a game more than anybody else loves a game, let me know. I may have something to show you.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. Like Super Magnetic Neo hit up the Dreamcast Junkyard guys.
If you know Super Magnetic Neo, I want to talk to you.
They'll probably want to talk to you about that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay, so again, that's a good shout. If you want to talk to Bo about your favorite game, he probably knows
don't tell
something
me
you
Final
don't.
Fantasy VII. Don't tell me Metal Gear Solid. Like,
Nah.
down the list.
Nah. He'll probably know something you don't, so hit him up. Yeah. Okay, Bo, thank you very much for coming on the show. Thank you for taking the time. Really nice to
so much fun.
Yeah, really nice to meet you. You need to come back whenever you do discover 2-player mode in Shenmue. Okay.
Oh boy.
I mean, is it a thing? I don't think it is. I don't think anyone.
I don't think it's a thing.
I don't think it's a thing yet. But who knows? But thank you again for coming, and all the best for Rings of Saturn and all your amazing work here. Really entertaining and informative. Really enjoy reading all the crazy stuff you uncover. So keep it up. Okay?
Thanks so much.
Thank you. The Sega Lounge, hosted by me, KC, a Mixout Productions podcast and part of Radio Sega's network of live shows and podcasts. Theme song and incidental music by OSC. Got any suggestions? Drop me an email to podcast@thesegalounge.com. Find us at thesegalounge.com on Blue Sky. Check out our YouTube channel for our video content and follow us on Twitch to join our Let's Play sessions and live episodes. You can find previous episodes of the show by going to thesegalounge.com on the TerraPlayer app and wherever you listen to podcasts.